It's literally becoming a race against time.
I'm just gonna take the L. It's getting late, so I've got to move fast if we're gonna do this all in one day.
Okay, so we made it back here.
In the next 12 hours, I'm going to attempt to show you the entire Kansas City Metro. Everything, and I mean everything, you need to know before moving here. And the trick is, I have to do it all in one day.
Are you crazy?
So in 12 hours from now, I need to be right back here. Let's see if I can do it. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna start our tour here at the new Kansas City International Airport, probably one of the newest airports in all of America. Opened maybe less than a year ago in spring of 2023. One of my favorite things about this airport is we have those like moving walkways that a lot of airports have. Our old airport was really outdated, really old. I will give it this, it was easy to get around in that old airport, but this new airport is state-of-the-art, brand new, might be the newest in all of America. Okay, you are in Platte City right now. Platte City is right above north of the airport. A lot of people who live here actually do work at the airport. Two of the clients that I moved here work at the airport. A lot of the other people that live here either just like the small town kind of vibe of Platte City, kind of being a little bit outside of the metro, but also some people do work in Fort Leavenworth, which we will see Leavenworth later today. More on that later. But Platte City is a small town. Kind of, we're here on the main street. It's kind of a quiet place. So if you want a slower pace of life, you might want to explore Platte City. This is Weston, Missouri. It's a tiny little town, about 30 miles from the center of where we started right now. So this is kind of the farthest out I'm gonna go in the Kansas City Metro. Weston is a cool place. I have 3 stories about Weston. First one is the only 2 traffic tickets I've ever gotten were both in Weston. One was when I was showing my client a house. Another was the year later on the same street as I was dropping a gift off for that client at the same house. So 2 traffic tickets, both here in Weston. Another thing is they used to have a really cool apple orchard here. The last time I looked, that was shut down. We took our son Keller there for his first birthday. Super, super awesome. Another thing that's cool about Weston is that they have a pub right here called O'Malley's Pub. Not open right now, but it's an underground pub. So you get to go underground and you get to eat there. I've eaten there only once. Food was really good. Atmosphere was even better. Let's head to our next stop. Well, welcome to our first stop in Kansas. If you didn't know, the Kansas City Metro is in both Kansas and Missouri, and so we've hopped over the state line. You'll see that when you see us crossing the bridge over here, and we are now in Leavenworth, Kansas. A couple things to know about Leavenworth. Number one is there is a base here, a military base here called Fort Leavenworth. On Fort Leavenworth, there's actually a sweet golf course called Trails West that I've played before. One of my clients who moved up here actually was in the military, and so he gets us into Fort Leavenworth, and I've played Trails West quite a few times. Great track. Another thing to note about Leavenworth is that there is a prison here. The prison system also employs a lot of different professionals, so they're all moving in here. It's a great market for rentals. It's a great market to move into. It's a really quiet, quaint town, very similar to Weston and Platte City. We're gonna get to some bigger towns later, but if small town living is your jam, then Leavenworth is going to be one of the places that you wanna look into. Okay, I'm out here on Angel Falls Trail up in Lansing, Kansas. Lansing is a small town that is in Leavenworth County. So it's not in Leavenworth, Kansas, but it's in Leavenworth County. And if you enjoy small town living, just like Leavenworth, Lansing is going to be a place for you. It doesn't have quite the presence like Leavenworth does with the prison there and with the fort there. So Lansing is gonna be quieter. You're gonna expect a lot of open places like these. In Lansing, a lot of the houses here kind of sit on acreage. You can easily find that here. There's also going to be a lot of windy back roads up in Lansing too, so it's a really attractive area. Now I'm going to leave Lansing and drive about an hour to Smithville Lake. Now it is about 10 o'clock and I'm making a lot slower progress than anticipated, but here's what I'm going to do. I promise you, I will not edit this to make it seem like I did all of Kansas City in one day and come back like the next day or something like that. I'm going to do this all today, okay? So I'm going to drive over to Smithville Lake, and I'm gonna try to hit all 70 stops that I planned here. This is the longest drive I have today, so keep on watching to see if I can actually make it. Again, I'm not gonna flub you. I'm not gonna try to do this all in the second day and edit it like it's all today. It is going to be today. So we are headed right now to Smithville Lake. Let's go. Okay, we are at Smithville Lake, and this lake is the biggest in the Kansas City metro. Couple things to know about Smithville Lake. It's a really desirable area, also growing rapidly right now in terms of average home prices. If you want to know the average home price in Smithville Lake, you got to give us a call. We can tell you all the stats about the housing market in Kansas City. But here at Smithville Lake, a few other things to note is that number one, it's owned by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, meaning that there are no homes that are allowed to be built right on the lake. So if you want the peace and tranquility of the lake to be preserved, this is the lake for you. But if you want to live on a lake, can't do it here. We're going to go to a lake later where you can live on it, so stay tuned for that. Another thing too, Smithville Lake is super popular for boating, for fishing, all sorts of things. There are 2 golf courses right over there that we're not going to see today, but I've played both. Super challenging, especially with the wind. You could probably hear the wind in the microphone right now. The wind is always whipping on the lake. So Smithville Lake, super popular area. Let's head on to the next area. Okay, we're here right now in the historic downtown of Kearney, Missouri. Now Kearney is spelled with a K, but it's pronounced Carney, like the circus Carnies, okay? So that's one mistake that you don't want to make, especially if you're moving here. People will know you're not from here if you call it Kearney. Kearney is also one of the fastest growing places. I promised we were going to go to other places that are not growing as fast, and we're going to show you all of Kansas City. But Kearney is one of the fastest growing places, and the reason... Okay, so we made it to Excelsior Springs. I've been saying Lansing, Leavenworth, Kearney, all these areas are booming and growing. Excelsior Springs was one of the top 5 areas that actually shrunk in Kansas City in terms of average home price last year. That's not to say Excelsior Springs is a bad place to live. On the contrary, a lot of people that move up here absolutely love it. It's also a kind of small, quiet, sleepy town. Right here, as we cross the road, hopefully without getting hit, is the Dubious Claims Brewing Company. I had a really good Reuben and a beer there last time I played golf. There's a great golf course up here, Excelsior Springs Golf Course. This is a small, kind of quiet downtown area. It's a nice place to visit. I wouldn't necessarily come up here if I wasn't filming this video, just to be completely honest with you. But Excelsior Springs is a small, affordable town that you can live. Again, if you like small town living, you want to be on the Missouri side, you don't want to be in the middle of the hubbub and everything, check out Excelsior Springs. Okay, this is Liberty, Missouri. Fun fact, when we first moved here to Kansas City, we almost, and I'm talking like minutes away from pulling the trigger, making an offer that would have been accepted for a historic home in Liberty. And in some ways, we kind of regret it looking back. In some ways, we don't. We liked where we ended up in Gladstone. We're gonna head there later. But Liberty, Missouri has a ton of historic homes, and we were gonna buy a historic home in Liberty, and we just decided against it because there are some restrictions in what you can do, and the city does have some control over that. So Liberty, Missouri is a place that has been growing exponentially for a long, long time, and it's going to continue growing exponentially. So if you're moving out here, this is probably what Kearney is going to be projected to look like in 10, 15 years, because it's so busy here. There's so many people here. A lot of people are just looking at me saying, hey, what the heck is this guy doing, as they drive by. This is Liberty Square. It's a historic place. A lot of cute stores. Liberty Square, tons of cute places. I'm also going to include some B-roll. Full disclosure though, okay? I'm making this video you're watching right now all in one day, but I have some extra footage that I've shot at other times because I just don't have the time to just shoot all of this stuff right now. So if you see some, if you see some clips of these places with different weather, with snow on the ground, with leaves on the trees, that's why, okay? So don't want to trick you. I'm gonna do this all in one day, but some of the clips are gonna be from other times when I've been up in Liberty. Let's head to the next place. Okay, behind me is one of the best playgrounds in all of the Northland. Now, when I say the Northland, I mean north of the river in Kansas City. So one of the best playgrounds in all of the Northland is Hodge Park Playground. This area of Hodge Park has really beautiful homes. I'll put my GoPro on top as I drive through. Multi-million-dollar listings. You've got really nice homes in this area. You've also got one of the best playgrounds in all of Northland. I love this playground. I love it when my kids come here. In fact, I'm going to bring up my old Bean Frog playground reviews, which, if you don't know, is my oldest child. His nickname is Bean. My littlest child, his nickname is Frog. And this playground is definitely a 10 out of 10. You've got a whole bunch of things. I'm gonna walk through it here really quick. You've got a whole bunch of things to do. You got slides, you've got zip lines, you've got swings. All of that stuff is awesome, 100% fantastic. Another thing with this Hodge Park area is a lot of people will say, hey, never move to Kansas City proper because Kansas City has all the crime. This area has virtually no crime. Just according to the crime statistics that you look at, it's a super safe area to live in. It's got super great school systems. It's got super high price point homes. Very, very desirable. 2 awesome golf courses up here, Hodge Park Golf Course and Shoal Creek Golf Course. I've played Hodge Park before. That's probably my most familiar golf course in the metro. I don't love it that much. If you're a golfer and you want to know why, give me a call. I'll explain all the golf courses here in the metro, but Hodge Park Golf Course. If you're from the Midwest, you know what Quick Trip is. People here in the Midwest, we love our gas stations. Quick Trip is probably one of the best ones. It's an awesome place to work, according to some of my clients who have actually worked at a Quick Trip. And it's also an awesome place to go get some snacks and some gas. So I gotta get some gas. I might pick up some snacks, but most of all, I really gotta go to the bathroom before our next stop, or I'm barely gonna be able to talk straight. So bear with me here. Don't make fun of me, but I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I forgot which side my gas tank was on here. Parked it on the other side. I think I'm gonna get gas somewhere else. It's really busy and people are looking at me already. Did manage to pick up a Wally's Puckleberry slushy, I think it's called. One of the best in the metro. Not the best though. The best is actually a secret place near my house that serves pina colada slushies. But we're gonna head over to Zona Rosa because like I said, I'm too embarrassed. I'm just gonna take the L, okay? Okay, so I wanted to get out here in Zona Rosa, but the only parking literally I see here is this kind of to-go express parking that I'm not here for, so I'm not gonna take that parking spot. I'm just gonna drive around with the GoPro and I'll tell you a little bit about Zona Rosa. Zona Rosa is a shopping center in the Northland here. It's a pretty trendy, cool area. We never ever shop here. We have gone to this playground that I'm approaching here one time with our kids and it was pretty fun. It's kind of like a, you know, any mall playground. The reason that we never shop at Zona Rosa is because we buy all our stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Anything that you need on Facebook Marketplace, I can find it for you because I'm so good at hunting for deals. And sometimes, you know what, I'll tell you, I buy stuff on Facebook Marketplace that I'm like, I definitely didn't need that, okay? I don't know if you can relate, but I never come up to places like this to shop, but this is a cool place if you do want to spend some money, if you've got those buku bucks to shop and to buy stuff new. Zona Rosa is one cool place to do it. Now we are leaving Zona Rosa and we are gonna head over to a place where I hopefully can get out, and that is Weatherby Lake. This is Weatherby Lake, and if you want to live on the lake, this is probably one of the best communities in all of Kansas City to do it in, although don't expect houses here, especially ones on the lake, to pop up very often or to be had very easily. A lot of people want to live in this community because you've got a great, awesome school district, you're close to everything, but you can also have the lake life that you want behind you. You can boat here, as you can see, a lot of people have docks. You can fish here as well. One thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're going to want to know the riparian laws for this area, because when you live on a lake, there are some certain covenants and restrictions that you have to think about. So if this is an area that you want to explore, give us a call, 816-4MOVE-KC, 816-4MOVE-KC. We'll help sort all of this out for you. Let's head to the next area. Okay, so we're in Parkville right now, and Parkville is definitely on the list of top 5 markets that have increased the most this past year in Kansas City. Houses here have just shot up from 2023 to 2024, and it's really insane how high prices have gotten here in Parkville, and a lot of people really want to be here. This is a cool, quaint little downtown area. I'm going to show some footage of when I visited here last. In a lot of these areas, I've already done full vlog tours of, so if you want to check those out, go ahead and stay on this channel, check those out. But this is downtown Parkville, a really cool place, especially during the weekend right now. You can see behind me just how busy things are. There's mini golf up there, haven't gone up there for a while. And right across the street here is English Landing Park, which is a sweet riverfront park that you can walk at if you're so inclined. Testing, testing, testing. Welcome to Gladstone, and I have a big smile on my face being back here because this is the neighborhood in which we used to live. When we first moved to Kansas City, we didn't know anything about the area. We didn't know anything about living in Kansas City, and we moved right here to Gladstone, and it was such a blessing. I love this area. I still visit this area often because we kept our house that we moved into and we now rent it out, and that's great for our family. And I have a ton of great memories in this area. My son, Augie, my second son, was born here, and we came as a family of 3. We left as a family of 4 to Midtown Kansas City, which we're gonna go to in a little bit here. And now we're expecting our 3rd in Midtown. So Kansas City has been great for us. Gladstone is a super awesome area to live. When we used to live here, I would constantly forget to lock the front door. It would just be wide open, and we never had any issues. This neighborhood is pretty good for trick-or-treating as well. So if you want a safe neighborhood to take your kids trick-or-treating, this part of Gladstone I actually really like too, because it's one of the only few areas of Gladstone that has sidewalks. Now look, if you're moving to Kansas City, one of the things that's gonna frustrate you if you like to walk is a lot of our older neighborhoods, they don't have sidewalks. So look, if you wanna find a neighborhood with sidewalks, give us a call, give us a ring. We can help you locate those areas because sometimes they're few and far between. So let's go to the next area. Okay, welcome to the Clay Como area, and this behind me is our only theme park in Kansas City, Worlds of Fun. We haven't been there yet. Our kids are 4 and 2, a little bit too young to be going on some of these roller coasters and some of these rides, although I have heard there is like a Snoopy World in there, so maybe this year will be the first year we get some tickets to Worlds of Fun. Currently right now, it's mid-March, it's closed right now, but it soon will open. I think it opens in April and stays open throughout the summer. But definitely shuts down for the winter because nobody's trying to ride some roller coasters in like 10-degree weather. Right now it's a pretty nice day, but still not open yet. Worlds of Fun in Clay Como. So a common question that I get for people is, why did we initially move here to Kansas City from Los Angeles, California? And it is right here, Midwestern Seminary. I am a PhD student here. I still am. Haven't finished the degree yet because, I mean, it's really hard to work full-time in real estate and finish my degree, but we moved here for me to attend this seminary. Before I moved here, I was a pastor for 10 years in Los Angeles, California at a few various churches, and we moved here for me to complete my PhD, and I got started with my real estate journey. Now, the only reason I mention this on this tour is because it's a place of great significance for me. I love studying here, and I love the people that I get to meet here. Also, too, it's one of the bigger seminaries in all of North America. So that's one thing that you may not have known about Kansas City, is that there's a quite a large Southern Baptist seminary right here in the heart of North Kansas City, or at least the Northland. We are gonna head to North Kansas City right now, North Kansas City proper, and I'll show you the downtown there. Right now we are in North Kansas City. Now you may have heard me mention the Northland, North Kansas City. They're 2 separate things, okay? The Northland is basically all of the Kansas City metro that's above the river, that's on the Missouri side, okay? So Leavenworth and Lansing, that's not considered the Northland, okay? But North Kansas City is an actual place. It's an actual city. It's got a zip code. It's got houses that you can live in. Actually, right behind this area are some actually really cute houses that right around the $200,000 to $250,000 range is gonna be something that if you wanna live in this kind of trendy area, you're gonna wanna look into. So North Kansas City, its own separate city. I used to go to church right there at that theater, and there's a ton of things to do right on this street. So we are gonna shoot over from the Missouri side back to the Kansas side. We're going to Kansas City, Kansas, which is different than Kansas City, Missouri. So let's head there right now to one of my favorite Mexican restaurants in all of Kansas City. Let's go. Okay, you might not know this, but Kansas City, Kansas has some of the best tacos compared to anywhere. And I came from Los Angeles, which is a hub of great tacos. But if you come and live here in Kansas City and you say there's no good Mexican food, no good Hispanic food, then you just haven't visited Kansas City, Kansas, okay? Right across the street is Taro Humares. I think I said that right. And that's my favorite Mexican joint. Tell them Jaylenn sent you and they'll be like, who's Jaylenn, right? You wouldn't get a discount. But when you go there, get the birra tacos, B-I-R-R-A tacos. It's like a wet taco that you can dip into some sauce. Ooh. Kansas City, Kansas has a lot of things to do. We're gonna explore one more part of Kansas City, Kansas because I have to show you this view. And then we're gonna head back out to the country, all the way out to the limits of Kansas City again, and then come back in. Again, we're running out of time, but we'll continue moving on. Okay, we're still in Kansas City, Kansas, and this is Caw Point Park. I felt like you guys had to see this park because look at this incredible view of downtown Kansas City. Isn't that awesome? I mean, you can see right over the state line, right into downtown. This is where the Kansas and Missouri rivers meet. You're not gonna swim here because you'll get swept away and drown in the current, so don't do that. You can boat here, I guess. I've never seen anybody use this boat ramp, and we've been here a handful of times. It's a very quiet park, and I think one of the things that is historic about this park is that Lewis and Clark, when they were exploring, they stopped here and like made camp here or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. This isn't really a history lesson. This is just to show you Kansas City. But we're gonna head out to other parts of Leavenworth County. We're done with Kansas City, Kansas, and show you, again, different country living in the city, this time on the Kansas side. So this is the Legends Outlets in Kansas City, Kansas. Oh, that was loud.
Wow, just wow.
So this is the Legends Outlets in Kansas City, Kansas. I would say it's very similar to Zona Rosa that we've already been to, but a little bit bigger and also a lot more things going on. Number one thing that's going on out here is that the Sporting Kansas City plays in Children's Mercy Park right over here, and that is our local MLS soccer team. They actually have a game tonight, which might be why this place is so busy. Another thing too is the Kansas Speedway. You'll be able to see it on the drone shot. The Kansas Speedway is right over there. One thing I want to note about Kansas City is we've got a lot of open area shopping malls, but not too many shopping malls that are enclosed. We're going to get to Oak Park Mall in Overland Park in a little bit, but overall, everything's kind of outside, which is great for days like today when it's really nice out. But when it's really cold, it's hard to shop. So if you're a developer, I think there's market share for Kansas City to have a lot more enclosed shopping malls. Okay, a lot of people talk about country living in the city. I say it all the time, country living in the city, country living in the city. Basser is definitely that, country living in the city if you want to be on the Kansas side in Leavenworth County. Recently, I had a client move to Basser. He bought 2 acres in about a 2,700 square foot home, sorry about that, for about $450,000. And that's kind of what you can expect out in Basser. As you were driving through here, I'm sure the GoPro showed you that there's plenty of homes and subdivisions. But if you want something that is truly kind of feels country, you got 2 acres, you got 3 acres, some people can find 4 or 5 acres, Basser is gonna be a place that you wanna look. A lot of people love living out here. As you can see behind me, there's a nice park over there, some kids playing over there. There's a park over here too, but this one's not, there's a playground over here too, but this one's not as nice as the one over there. For the sake of time, I do have to run because we are headed back into Missouri to the historic northeast portion of Kansas City. Man, it is getting to be about 3:50 and it is getting late, so I've got to move fast if we're gonna do this all in one day. Okay, there are a couple places that I wanted to visit on this tour that just realizing the time of the day it is that I won't get to visit, but I have visited them before, so I'm gonna show some clips of them here. The first one is City Market. It is a nightmare to park at City Market right now, especially when the farmers market is going on. And I had originally wanted to do that, but just kind of realizing, man, I'm not gonna get a chance to really go to City Market because of the fact that, yeah, we're just running a little bit more behind than I would like to. So we're gonna bypass City Market, but City Market is a farmer's market that's located in a bigger region called River Market. And they go every weekend, Saturday, Sunday. It's a super cool, trendy area to go shopping. I like going shopping there for like beef jerky, homemade honey. Local honey is something that a lot of vendors at City Market sell. Also, a couple other places downtown. We're driving through right now. One of like the brightest tunnels that is I've ever been through, and I've been through a lot of tunnels in Kansas City and just in America. But one of the reasons I mention this is because if you drive through that tunnel when your kids are sleeping, they will definitely like wake up if you don't have like shades over your window. We're going right now below the T-Mobile Center and through the tunnel in downtown Kansas City, and actually near the Kansas City Star, which is going to be the place of the future, or could be the proposed place of the future home of the Royals here. And driving through there definitely is cool. It's pretty smooth. As you can see, there's not really that much traffic on a Saturday. But where we're headed right now is an area that has been up and coming for a long time. A lot of old historic homes. So let's go see what the historic northeast of Kansas City looks like right now. Okay, we are in the historic northeast in an area that has really kind of boomed recently in the past few years. At one point, this area was like the cream of the crop of Kansas City, like super high class. Then it kind of went into disrepair, and now it's really coming up again. Right behind me, you see this castle. I mean, this is insane, right? There's a castle you could live in right here. I've actually toured this house right here with this tower over here. So really cool. In the drone footage, you'll be able to see the Kansas City skyline. So awesome, awesome area. I mean, very rarely as a realtor do I tour places that kind of make me jealous that I didn't live there. But I mean, even look at this house in between the castle and this other blue house. I mean, what a cool looking house, right? On this side too is the Kansas City Museum. Stores a lot of Kansas City history. One thing that you're gonna wanna know about moving here is these houses are old, and these houses are sometimes renovated, sometimes not. So it's probably gonna cost you a lot of money to keep a lot of the lights on these houses on. But if I could live anywhere in Kansas City, I'd live in one of these. We made it out to Independence, Missouri, and the building behind me, this striking spire here, is the Community of Christ Temple. Now, I have multiple clients who have moved here that are LDS, and they say that this site is extremely significant because it's the site of future Zion, according to their belief. If you didn't know that, there are plenty of LDS people who have moved here, relocated here from Utah and other areas because they want to be closer to the temple site. In fact, last year just closed a client in Independence, Missouri, living not too far from here. Now, one thing to note about Independence is you'll hear a lot of people say, well, Independence is a drug town. Independence is unsafe. And there are certain parts of Independence where that might be absolutely true. But the further out east you get, the safer Independence typically gets in terms of the crime maps. Again, this is all according to crime maps that you can pull up online. I've done tons of videos on crime, and as a realtor, I can't tell you exactly where to go and exactly what to avoid and all that kind of stuff because of fair housing laws, so I want to be careful with that, but you can easily look up all of this stuff online and with our other videos. Let's head on to our next location. Man, it's getting late. We're gonna head to where the Chiefs play, Arrowhead Stadium, and where the Royals play, Kauffman Stadium. Let's go. Now, this wouldn't be a Kansas City vlog tour if we didn't mention our teams. You've got the Chiefs, who are coming off their third Super Bowl in 5 years, that play right here. And then over here, you have the Royals, which are definitely not in the same position. They're not that good. But awesome, fantastic places, both of them to watch games. Arrowhead Stadium is known as one of the louder stadiums in the NFL, and being an opposing fan there, rooting for my Chargers, going right there is a ton of fun. People are super kind, super nice. Now here, I'm also a Dodgers fan. I typically won't necessarily go to as many Dodgers games because they happen more in the middle of the season when it's kind of hotter, but we will catch games here. The last game that we caught was the very last game of the 2023 season. I think Zach Greinke pitched. If the Royals are not playing the Dodgers, I will definitely root for the Royals, but it's been a rough few years for our teams, our baseball team here. So you've seen the soccer team, you've seen the baseball team, you've seen our Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Now we're gonna head back into downtown. Okay, this is the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, and this is a world-class art museum that's actually free to go to. It's stunningly awesome to go to. One thing I'll give you is if you have young kids, like again, my kids are 4 and 2, not a great place for them. Last time I took them, they were like all over the floor. They were like slapping paintings by Van Gogh, doing all this crazy stuff. I remember the security guard was like, dude, these kids are going into the other room, you gotta watch them. So I would not recommend it, but for a night out, like my wife and I came here for our last anniversary, ooh, super, super awesome. Also behind me, you see these shuttlecocks. That's iconic Kansas City. I'm in kind of the Midtown area right now. Also in the Midtown area is the Country Club Plaza, which is another shopping area. I'm not gonna show it to you because we've seen plenty of shopping areas today, but This is my favorite part of town. I told you that I would live in the historic Northeast. I do live in Midtown. I'm literally like 6 minutes away from home. We've still got a long ways to go, and I wish that I could just go home, enjoy a home-cooked meal with Emily, but in Midtown, you also have places like Westport, Crossroads, really cool, awesome, trendy areas that you can visit that we won't have time to visit today because we still got to get to all of Johnson County. But anyways, Nelson Atkins Museum of Art is a world-class art museum. You definitely do not want to miss it. But we've got to press on, so let's go.
Okay, on our way to Johnson County, we're gonna start in Prairie Village. We're driving through the Brookside, Armor Hills, Waldo area. I covered this area in the 5 safest or best areas to live in Kansas City. You can see some of the houses here are just absolutely stunningly beautiful. We love taking walks here. Again, not too far from where we currently live. And one thing to note about Kansas City is where we currently live, I wouldn't call it the best area. In fact, there was a list that I used to cover the 5 worst areas in Kansas City that actually named my neighborhood, Blue Hills, the 4th worst area. But we are super close to these really beautiful areas. These Waldo, Brookside areas where homes are, you know, $450,000 and up for a nice home. Very desirable areas. We're on our way to Prairie Village, which is also a really nice area. I kind of call it the Eagleton of Kansas City. If you know anything about Parks and Rec, you know Eagleton is kind of like, you know, the elite area. But we're gonna head there now. Check out what we see. Okay, so now where we are is the Ward Parkway, Warnall Road area of Kansas City, and this area is extremely bougie. This is the kind of the only area in Missouri that's really super high class, high scale. If that's your style, this is where you want to live, but you're not gonna typically find anything on this side for less than $1 million. We love coming down here for the Christmas lights that they do in this area. This is like the best area for Christmas lights.
If you are a big fan of Parks and Recreation, the show, you'll know that Eagleton is the town that neighbors Pawnee. And Pawnee's kind of, you know, trashy middle class, but Eagleton is really like hoity-toity, bougie, upper class. I always describe Prairie Village, and particularly this area near Meadowbrook Park here, as the Eagleton of Kansas City. It's a beautiful park. It's a beautiful area. You've got $1 million houses right in this Meadowbrook Park area. I'll show some clips of that right now. But really cool place. Honestly, it's making me want to take my kids here tomorrow and have them fly a kite. I see a couple people out with the breeze flying kites and doing all sorts of fun things. So Prairie Village in 2022 was one of the hottest areas in not only just Kansas City, but all of America to buy a home. And actually from 2023 to 2024, the average home price here at Prairie Village actually fell. So that's kind of why you need local knowledge. Give us a call if you're thinking about moving here to Kansas City, if you're thinking about buying a home here in Kansas City or selling a home here in Kansas City. We can definitely help you. And even if you're not, you're thinking about it in the future, reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. All right, now to the next place. Okay, we made it to Overland Park, Kansas. You can see the iconic clock tower behind me. I'm here during the off season of the farmer's market, but this is a super cool place to come, especially when the farmer's market is actually going. We're gonna do a couple of vlog tours of Overland Park down here in the springtime when they open up the farmer's market because it is booming, it's busy. Overland Park was rated the 2nd best place to buy a home in all of America. How they do those ratings, I truly don't know, I couldn't tell you. But Overland Park is rated number 2 in terms of best place to buy a home. So if you want to buy a home in the 2nd best place in America, according to some people, give us a call. But Overland Park has a huge price range of houses, but it's a super safe area. It's a super nice, more affluent area, but it's got different kind of sections. It's you know, really high class section, upper class, you could say. You've got this middle class section, and it's actually got some affordable housing as well. Overland Park is also home to the Deanna Rose Farmstead, which is a really cool place to take your kids when it's open. Again, a lot of these things do shut down during these during these colder times, which I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, obviously they have their schedules and it's posted everywhere and everything, but You're gonna need to know if you move to Kansas City, there are certain times of the year where you're just not gonna be able to do what you want to do. With Overland Park, we're gonna head over to Oak Park Mall, which is the only mall, like I would classify as a mall, here in Kansas City. So when I lived in Southern California, there were a ton of shopping malls. You could go to Ontario Mills, you could go to the Arcadia Mall, you could go to all these different malls. Here in Kansas City, in the metro, we have one mall that I would consider a shopping mall, and that's the Oak Park Mall. The only mall that's kind of indoors, where you can go indoors and shop with the regular food court and everything like that. All other shopping areas in the Kansas City metro are kind of just outdoor shopping areas. I don't know why that is, but that's just how it is. Okay, we are in Olathe, Kansas right now, and this is probably the farthest out we're gonna get if we're gonna finish this vlog today at all. I wanted to stop here because this is a pretty major shopping center in Olathe. Behind me is a Joe's Barbecue. I'm so hungry right now, I wish I could go eat it, but again, I gotta keep pushing on. Don't go to this Joe's Barbecue, okay? Not that this is a bad barbecue. If you're gonna go to Joe's, you've got to go to the original that's on 47th. It's out of a gas station in Kansas City, Kansas. One thing to know about DeSoto is that there's a brand new power plant that's supposed to be making a lot of the batteries that will go in Teslas and other electric cars. A lot of people are moving in here to DeSoto in order to work at that power plant. So that's a huge thing that's gonna change the shape of the metro, because DeSoto is still in Johnson County. However, DeSoto is pretty far out there. I mean, it's still 20-30 minutes out from where I'm at right now in Olathe. Another area that's growing extremely fast is Gardner. Gardner has a bunch of homes that are right in the $250,000 to $285,000 mark. I actually just sold one in Gardner back in January, and that one went really quickly. The first day it hit the market, somebody snatched it up, because Gardner has a fantastic area school district. If you kind of want to live in Johnson County, you want the nice schools, you want this super cool area, and you also want country living in Johnson County, DeSoto, Gardner are areas that you want to check out. Now you can see it's kind of getting kind of dark, so we've actually still got to head to Lee Summit on the Missouri side. We're going to stop one more time before we get to Lee Summit, and then from Lee Summit, we better book it back downtown if we're going to get this vlog done in time.
Okay, so we're headed back to the Missouri side. It's literally becoming a race against time to see if we're going to hit all the spots that I wanted to hit before sunset. But as we're driving through Leawood right now. Leawood is a super, probably the best area in all of Kansas City to live, to be honest with you. It's extremely high priced. The cheapest listing in Leawood last year that I saw was like $450,000 or $350,000, and it was just like a really beat up shack. But just because it had a Leawood address, you're definitely going to pay a lot of money for that. I had a client who was looking at a house in Hallbrook, and if you don't know where Hallbrook is in Leawood, that is a super nice area. They ended up moving a little bit further out and buying a very nice place there, but I was kind of bummed because he was like, hey, if we buy this place in Hallbrook, then you can come play Hallbrook Country Club whenever you want. And I was like, shoot, man, like, all right, well, I'm not gonna let my biases select where you live, but definitely want to play Hallbrook Country Club. It's one of the nicest courses in all the Kansas City area. We're also driving by Lake Quivira. So Lake Quivira is where Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, a lot of famous, Tom Watson I think has a home there. A lot of famous Kansas Cityans have homes there. Really exclusive area. I thought about actually just kind of trying to drop in there. Not like saying I'm gonna pop into Patrick Mahomes' house or anything, but just outside. But I kind of felt like the juice probably wasn't worth the squeeze, because I would not be able to get anywhere near anything worth seeing, and I'd just be in some, outside some gated community. We are headed to back into Missouri. We're going to cross the Missouri state line anytime now. We're on the 435. If you don't know where the 435 is, the 435 is a freeway that kind of connects, goes all the way through like Overland Park, and then into Missouri, goes through Leawood. Typically in the mornings, this is going to be one of the most clogged freeways. We are going to stop at an area, kind of cover the Grandview, Raymore, Raytown areas right here, and head over to Lee Summit. And then, like I said, man, you can see the sun setting pretty quick. So we've got to get there to finish this vlog in one day. So on our way to Lee Summit,
we stopped over here in Ruskin Heights. The only reason I wanted to stop here is because this is an example of a neighborhood that is actively turning around from a neighborhood with a pretty violent reputation to a neighborhood that's actually, you know, a lot of these houses have been remodeled. A lot of these families that live here now definitely don't want the, you know, reputation that Ruskin Heights once had. I do cover the 5 worst neighborhoods in Kansas City in terms of crime statistics at another video, but Ruskin Heights wasn't on it. At one point, it definitely would have been on it. We can't cover everything in one video, okay? Even though we're doing our best to try. And you can see with the color of the sky that it is getting late. With Ruskin Heights and just talking a little bit about the crime in Kansas City, I would say most of the people here don't want Kansas City to be known as a place of high crime activity. Most of the people in Kansas City want to raise their families, go about their lives, enjoy the awesome, wonderful city that you got to see. Quick aside here, Ruskin Heights is one of those neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks. So again, if you want to find a neighborhood sidewalks, give us a call. That's just to show you a couple of the areas in Kansas City that are less mentioned, but are turning around pretty quickly. And you can see how beautiful the sky is as the sun starts to set. So we better make it to Lee's Summit, and then we better get back to downtown Kansas City. Okay, made it out to Lee's Summit, Missouri, our last stop before we head back and see if we can beat the sunset at the World War I Museum and Memorial in downtown. Lee's Summit is one of the fastest booming areas in Kansas City as well. Behind me is this huge shopping center. It was only finished a few years ago. You've got Jack Stack Barbecue over there, which is very, very good. I live very close to the Jack Stack that's on the plaza and go there very frequently. So Lee's Summit is a place that I've covered on my vlog tours, so we don't have much time to cover it here, so I'll show you some B-roll. I'll show you some footage of Lee's Summit here. You've got some really nice houses. You've got some actually pretty nice shopping centers as well. You've also got fishing, access, lakes, but we've got to get going to back to downtown. Okay, so we made it back here. 12 hours, all of Kansas City, at least all that I could do today. And now I'm just awarded with this amazing view of downtown Kansas City. There's so much here I didn't even cover. I didn't go on the wheel. I didn't get into Union Station, Science City, all of those things I've done before on other vlog tours, but I just kind of want to sit here and enjoy the view. Look, Kansas City is awesome, okay? 12 hours is not nearly enough to cover the entirety of the metro. If you're moving here, we would love to put together a plan for you that would fit best for you. So 816-4MOVE-KC, and as we sign off, I just want to let you enjoy the view here.